Hello, everybody. Welcome to Yoga Flow 40. Tonight is a really rainy, melancholy kind of night, so we're going to do a little bit of a variety of yoga tonight to kind of make up for that. I know for myself, my first instinct when the weather starts to get colder, rainy, leading into the S word that we won't mention, dark early, my first inkling is to just go home, put on my pajamas, and sit on the couch with my dogs. And I'm not gonna lie, that's what I'm gonna do later tonight. But it's also important to counteract some of those negative effects of the changing seasons and by taking care of ourselves a little bit more. It's also a chance to kind of slow down. We won't have the gardens, the flowers, the yard work, the extra daylight where we feel like we need to keep doing things and being productive. This is also coming into a time of year where it is time to slow down and check in with ourselves and really focus on some self care and self improvement. And part of the way that we can do that is through a yoga practice, stretching, meditation, breathing, the poses to keep ourselves limber. If you suffer from any kind of chronic pain or joint pain like myself, you also notice that during these weather shifts and changes, there's a lot more, a big increase in the amount of chronic pain, chronic fatigue, so on and so forth. And so instead of just giving into that, I think that we can make a healthy practice out of working with it, not against it, not avoiding it, but saying, okay, what would really be good is some deep stretches, some flexibility, increasing that range of motion. I never fully understood arthritic pain and joint pain until a few years ago, when it started and it's progressed. And I know that I need to change my daily habits to accommodate sometimes for what my body is capable of during the day, and that's okay. It's not something to shy away from or avoid or do anything to counteract. It's just saying it's okay. Let's work with this, right? So during this winter season, um, I'd like to do a lot of work on just focusing on some really good deep stretching and accepting and not allowing the emotions to take over. It's really easy for us to get more depressed, more down, um, between all of the holiday stuff and all of those festivities, the weather, our aches and pains. It's easy to let ourselves kind of get bogged down with that. And so from here going forward for the rest of this season, which I can still call fall, into the winter season, I just want to take some time each week to kind of work on, still making that time, still carving out that time, okay? Because it is important. Even if it's dark outside and it's raining, compared to a couple months ago when we had another 2 hours of sunlight and 75-degree weather, that's great, but we have to adjust to the changing seasons. That's what living in this part of the world is all about, right? We get to experience the best and worst of every season, of every climate change, and adapt to it, right? And if we've learned anything in the year 2020 and obviously continuing into 21 is that we need to adapt. We need to be open to change. We need to be accepting. and flexible, and acknowledge that we need to be the change. We can't rely on something else to accommodate us. We need to feed ourselves, okay? So tonight, let's do kind of a balanced routine, because I think it's important to keep doing some strength-based workouts incorporated into our yoga, as well as the relaxation and stretching part, because our bodies are capable of a lot more than we think they are. And I have learned this time and time again over the years as I'm aging. My practice now at 47 is very different from when I started at 24, okay? By leaps and bounds, but there's still some core things that are the same. It's the fact that I want to take care of myself. I want to make the most of this body that I have, and I want to honor not only the physical state, but the emotional and mental state, right? So I think if you stick with me throughout the next few months, we're going to get into a nice time of some balance and strength and relaxation that'll make each season change a little bit better. And um, one of the best ways to do that is with the breathing techniques that we have used. I have a few more to introduce in the next coming weeks. I'm also going to start to introduce a little bit of chakra work to balance the chakra system in the body. I think that's very important this time of year, to kind of turn inward and focus on the core energy sources we already have and what we can do to help strengthen them, help improve them, help get kind of a jump start on any ailments that we usually experience this time of year. So there's going to be a couple of upcoming workshops that I strongly recommend, and a few more restorative classes into the month of November, where we're going to learn just some really basic, easy, this is what you do to restore your body, okay? It's part of the rebuilding, it's part of the strengthening, it's part of the balancing work, and we're going to start exploring a little deeper into those things in the coming weeks. So I hope you stick with me and join me through all of that. And thank you for putting up with my 10 minutes of babble, but it is important. I do believe not just in what we can do and accomplish during these classes, but the things that happen outside of the classes as well because of it. So let's begin tonight in a nice simple cross-legged pose. And I want you to take a couple minutes. I want you to close the eyes, let those hands rest on the legs. Spine nice and tall, sitting bones into the floor. And I want you to just really tune into yourself for a couple minutes and notice what parts of the body are feeling sore, tight, restricted, limiting. Anything that feels like, man, I really need to stretch this, okay? And it could be numerous things, it could be one thing, but I just want you to pay attention to each part of the body. How do your feet feel? How do your legs feel? How do the hips feel? Is this causing a lot of tension by having them open? Then we need to work on some opening. Does it hurt the spine to try to sit up straight? If yes, it's okay. It's normal. That just means we need to lengthen and strengthen that spine. We need to strengthen the core, open through the chest. And let's start by just taking some nice deep breaths, deep from the belly. Let's just take a couple more at your own pace. There's no right or wrong way to do this. And then on the next inhale, let's just take those arms overhead. Bring the palms together, reach up through those fingertips, and exhale, release. One more time, inhale, arms up, really reach up towards the ceiling with those fingertips, keeping the sitting bones grounded, and release. And staying with the sitting bones planted, let's just walk those hands in front. Try to keep the shoulders down when you do this and the head neutral. And just take some deep breaths here. And then let's just walk the hands over to that left side. And when you start to feel like that right knee and hip are coming up on you, that's where you want to stop. So just take it back to where you can comfortably keep this right side down and still get a good stretch. And then back to center. And then over to that right side. And last time, back to center. And then slowly come up. Let's go ahead and extend those legs out in front. And you can use a strap or a belt, or you don't need to. You can just simply come down over the legs. It's up to you. I'm going to use a strap because I feel like that gets me a little bit better form with my stretch. So just take a nice deep breath in and then just fold forward over those legs. And if you start to feel a lot of discomfort and pulling behind the knees, just bend the knees slightly. Otherwise, if you can, try to keep those legs as straight as possible and the toes pointed towards the ceiling. And then let's slowly come back up. Keep that strap around the right foot, or if you're not using a strap, just keep the right leg extended. Bend that left leg down and just come down over that right leg. And then slowly come back up. Let's switch legs, extending that left leg up, bending the right leg down, and slowly coming down over that left leg. And then slowly come back up. Let's just set that strap off to the side. Let's just bring the feet together, holding on to the toes at first. And all I want you to do here is just focus on release. So you want to release the tension in the hips, in the hip flexors, in the legs. And just try to let those legs fall as open to the floor as you can. And then let's just move the hands up to the ankles and straighten that spine and do the same thing. And and then release. Let's come on over onto the hands and knees. And we're just going to take a couple of deep breaths here. Try to get the body nice and centered and even so you don't feel like you're leaning one way or the other. And we're just going to extend that right leg out and back and the left arm out in front. And just let the eyes and the head be neutral, gazing towards the floor. And then release. And just take a couple of deep breaths here, letting the body balance and restore its sense of balance so we're not leaning anyway. And then go ahead and extend that left leg out behind and the right arm out in front. And release. We're going to keep the hands down, lift up the knees and move into a downward dog. Keeping the feet a little closer than shoulder width, pushing the weight of the body away from the hands, pressing down through those legs. And just take some deep breaths here. If any time this is too intense, come down to the knees. Take a few breaths of rest here and then come back up. And we're going to come down onto the knees. We're going to lower onto the floor, keeping the hands just in front of the elbows, under the shoulders, and we're just going to gently press those palms into the floor and get a nice little stretch for the chest, the belly, and the lower back. Come back down to the elbows and then to the hands, and move your way back up into downward dog. And this time we're just going to walk feet forward into a nice forward bend. And just let the weight of the entire upper body here, so the shoulders, the head, totally release and relax. If you want to, you can keep a slight bend in the knees if you feel too much pressure in the back or the legs. And then very slowly roll yourself up. Come into a mountain pose, firmly grounding those feet into the floor. Arms at the side, shoulders back, head neutral. Take a nice couple of deep breaths here. Bring the arms overhead. Grab that left wrist in the right hand and gently stretch to the right side. Back to center. Release. Bring the arms back up. Right wrist into that left hand, stretch to the left. Back to center, release those arms. And we're going to work on a couple of balancing moves tonight as well, because these help not only balance, but they utilize all the smaller muscle groups in our body to help stabilize and build strength. So depending on your comfort level with this, we're going to start by doing tree, which is taking that left heel against the right leg. I'm going to show you with a hand against the wall so that this is an option, and until you get really stable and secure in your balance postures, it's a great way to start, okay? And then we're just gonna take that left foot, bring it up onto that right leg. It doesn't have to be here, it can be down here, or even on the calf is fine. We just don't want it over that knee. So anywhere that you feel it's comfortable, and just focus for a minute here on what's going on, okay? So we're holding that core nice and tight, nice and strong. We're opening up through the hip. We're using the strength of that right leg to support us right now. And if you feel like you want to take that right hand away from the wall, you can. And you can bring the hands to the heart. You can bring the arms overhead or out to the sides. Wherever you're at, and each side is going to be different. So remember, don't be discouraged if one side is better than the other. And then we're going to slowly release that left leg, shake it out. I'm just going to turn around so I can demonstrate with the left hand on the wall. If you don't need it there, don't use it. It's totally up to you. We're going to step that right heel against the left leg and then bring it up onto the leg. And if you feel stable, bring those hands either to the chest or overhead or to the sides. And then very slowly release the arms, release that leg back down, shake it out. We're going to take another nice deep breath in, bringing the arms overhead. On the exhale, go ahead and come all the way down to a standing forward bend, letting the weight again on the top of that body just release. Go ahead and lower all the way back down onto the knees. Sit back on the heels. We're just going to take a nice couple of deep breaths here. All I want you to do is gently press the hands into the legs, which allows the shoulders to roll back, the chest to expand. And let's go ahead and bring that left arm up. Hold on to that left elbow with the right hand and just let the left hand rest against the back, just like you were going to pat yourself on the back. And then release. Same thing, other side. Right hand goes back. Left hand holds on gently to that left elbow. Nice deep breaths here. And then slowly release. And let's come back over onto the hands and knees. And we're just going to slide that right leg forward and slide that left leg back. And we're just going to do a version of a pigeon pose. And all we want to work on here is the opening and the stretching, right? So this is too intense. You can move that left leg up closer, or, try to lift this front leg back a little bit. If it's fine, then go ahead and sink into it as much as you want. And then if you feel comfortable, you can come down onto the elbows and just let the head rest down. And then slowly come back up. Slide that leg back and bring that left leg forward. Same thing here, extend that right leg out and back. Make any adjustments that you need to make this comfortable. And you don't want to be straining yourself, okay? A little stretching, a little pulling is fine. But if it's painful, ease up on that front leg or come up a little bit further with that back leg and just play around with it. Do what you need to do. If you're comfortable with this, go ahead and come down onto the elbows. And slowly come back up. We're going to slide that left leg back, bring the knees together, sit down on the heels, open the knees just a little bit, and then come forward into a child's pose. And then slowly come forward, lift back up, cross the legs underneath, and go ahead and come down onto the back. And just take the hands, rest them on the belly for a minute. And just start to feel where you're tense, where you have a lot of tightness or soreness or any pain in the body. And use the next time that we have left tonight to just focus on releasing those areas. Try to keep the shoulders relaxed into the floor. Try to keep that lower back and hips on the floor. Try to keep opening up through the belly and the chest. And then we're just going to lift the feet, bring both knees in towards the chest, squeeze them gently towards you, and just take some deep breaths here. Try to focus on letting those shoulders drop down. And then just go ahead and gently rock from side to side. Come back to center, and let's drop the feet down. Let's extend that left leg out and bring just that right knee in. Again, try to keep those shoulders down. And we're just going to hold on to the back of that right leg and extend that right leg up. Gently release that right leg, bring it back down, extend it out along the floor, and let's do the same thing with that left side. Just gently squeeze the left knee in towards the chest. And then slowly grab onto that leg and extend the left leg up. And then slowly release. Bring both feet back to the floor. Walk those feet together. Let the knees fall open. Place the hands on the belly. And let's just release the weight entirely of the body, keeping that lower back down, the hips down. Everything on the top is open and expanding. Everything on the bottom is secure and stable, held up by the floor. You don't need to try to press into the floor. Let those shoulders relax down. And let's use the next couple of minutes again, finding and identifying which spots in our body are tight, or we're holding tension or emotion. And let's just work with each deep breath to help release any tension in those areas. If you want to take a break from the legs being open, bring them back up together. You can let one fall to the side at a time. And then when you're ready, let them both drop open. We're gonna walk the legs back up so the knees are together. We're gonna bend both knees into the chest, and I want you to grab onto either your toes or the foot or even the ankles, and just bring those legs bent towards the chest, feet up in the air. And then just slowly and gently rock from side to side, releasing any tension in that lower back, the legs, the hips. Nice deep breaths, relaxing a little bit more on each exhale, letting the shoulders fall down. And very slowly, let's bring those feet back to the floor. Go ahead and extend each leg out. Extend the arms up over the head and just let the arms and the hands fall open behind the head. Then go ahead, bring the arms all the way around and just let the hands rest on top of the belly. Just start to focus on each deep breath. And just begin to feel the natural rhythm of your breath and the flow of the breath through the body. On each inhale, allow that top of the body to feel light and open. And on each exhale, let the body completely relax into the floor. And let's just start to relax the body completely. When you start to feel your mind wander, as it will, just try to bring yourself back to this present moment, this breath, this practice. And just gently relax the toes. And relax the feet. Relax up through the ankles. And relax through the calves. Relax the knees. Relax the thighs and up through the legs into the hips. Relax up through the belly and the lower back. Relax the chest. Relax the diaphragm and the rib cage. Relax the shoulders. Relax out through the arms. Relax the hands and each fingertip. Relax the neck. Relax the muscles of the face. Relax the eyes. And just take a few more deep breaths here. And start to wiggle the fingers and the toes, the hands and the feet. Slowly bring those knees back up and into the chest. Slowly roll yourself back up. Come back to a simple cross-legged pose. Keep the eyes closed. Bring the hands to the chest. Thank you for sharing this time with me. And have a great night. Namaste.